We all the way lit. We all the way lit. We live? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Let me check. Go live. Get clients. I ain't really trying to get no clients. Oh boy. Welcome to the chat, gang. Welcome, welcome. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all. We all the way lit. Yeah. We are doing our daily 10K walk. As well as the podcast today. The question is dating for potential vs dating for reality. This is kind of a interesting topic because I think it's definitely different depending on which side you're sitting on. Okay, there we go. That's a better angle. Ooh. The start of the podcast is always difficult, yeah, because it's just a straight uphill climb, I can't lie. It's a straight uphill climb. We all the way there. She pushing an empty baby stroller. I'm thinking there was a baby inside. Don't even know, baby. We are the way you live. Welcome to the chat. So the first question, let's roll off the first question of the day. Should you date someone for who they are now? Or is it fair to consider who they might become? So the question is, should you date someone for who they are now? Or is it fair to consider who they may become? Welcome to the chat, welcome to the chat. This is an interesting one. Well, I believe that you only live in reality, right? We all live in reality. Welcome to that chat, everyone. We live in reality. I think you should be dating for who they are now. Thank you for the share, I appreciate y'all. Rather than dating for who they might become, because the truth is, you know, you may not ever reach that potential. They may not ever reach that potential. So you can't date for what you might be or for who they might be. I think it's difficult, obviously, to really put that in perspective, you know? It's difficult to probably listen to that advice because I think everybody dreams, right? Everyone can dream. Everybody kind of dreams, like hoping that their partner will become more than what they are to a certain extent. Oh, thank you for the likes. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for the likes. But in truth, I think you need to love that person for who they are right now, okay? Because, like I said earlier, you nor them might not ever reach your full potential, whatever the hell that means. So you need to kind of love who they are right now. You're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing that person a disservice if you're only thinking about their potential. I think it is fair, right? It's fair to dream. I think everybody dreams. I don't think it's unfair to dream. I think it's totally fair to dream. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate y'all. but I'm not sure. Can you join the live? Yes, you can join the live, but not in this segment. This first segment is the podcast segment. I take questions and stuff like that at the end of the segment. So if you're still there by the end, then for sure you can join. But welcome, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the follow. Appreciate the follow. Appreciate the follow. Thank you for the likes. W chat. So that's what I would say to that question. Let me move on to the next question from chat. So, how long should you wait for someone to get their life? This is a good question. How long should you wait for someone to get their life together before accepting that that this is just who they are? This is a really good question. How long should you wait for someone to, quote unquote, get their life together? Welcome to the chat. You're all the way lit. How long should you wait for somebody to get their... Oh, you was enjoying the Blade Marvel Rivals content? Hey, W's in the chat, Brody. Let me pause the podcast for a sec. Bro, you know what it is? My hard drive crashed, bro. So I had to re-download Marvel Rivals, and it took a while. Welcome to the chat. Hey, W Molly in the chat. What are you saying, B? So yeah, I will get back to Marvel Rivals, but it's gonna take me a minute. I can't lie, because I had to re-download it. My hard drive was busted. How you doing, babes? All right, let me get to this question real quick. So, how long should you wait for someone to get their life together before accepting this is just who they are? This is a really good question, y'all. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate y'all. Okay, so how long should you wait for someone to get their life together? How am I doing? Am I still dancing? How am I doing? We are the way lit. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Am I still dancing? A lot of my projects right now, I'm choreographing a lot. A lot of my projects are choreography based, so I'm not really the person dancing. I've choreographed for a few music videos, short films. I did quite a lot of international projects. So that's why I was out of the country. You didn't really see me posting because a lot of my projects were outside the country, in Asia. So I was in Asia for like 2-3 years, choreographing, doing different projects out there. So I only came back to the country like last year, beginning of the year basically. That's when I came back. So that's a little update. Hope you're doing well. Okay, she said they should have their life together before you get involved as a partner. A partner should just add to your life. W comment. Thank you for the likes, y'all. W comment. How you doing, Molly? Long time. Let's catch up, low-key. It'd be good to catch up one time for the one time. So that's a good perspective, right? How long should you wait for your partner to get their life together? And a chat saying they should have their life together before you get involved, which is a fair comment. I think it's fair because you can't expect someone to save you, you know? You can't expect someone to kind of fix your life for you. I think if you're already deep involved in the relationship and this isn't the normal behavior, like, okay, let me pause real quick. Yeah, catch up. That's good. You love your job? Yeah, ooh, W job. That sounds amazing. Yeah, you know what? If you want to do a podcast one time, yeah, I can hit you up for a podcast, Loki. But it'd be good to do a catch up for real, like a proper catch up. I'll hit you up. I'll hit you up. This weekend is a bit crazy, but maybe next week. I'm so happy that you like your job. That's amazing. Yeah, if they need a model, let me know. Like, if they need a model, let me know, Loki. Okay, so back to the podcast, yeah. W in the chat. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate y'all. So if it's not normal, if it's not the usual behavior, right, and let's say somebody's fell into some trouble, then of course you kind of need to be patient because that's life, right? There's ups and downs in life, and you want to stick by that person. But also, if it looks like their behavior is that they're always making excuses, there's always an excuse. It's always next week or tomorrow, or give me 5 months, give me this month, and then 5 months come around, and then it's another asking for another 5 months. Yeah, leave. Get out of there, man. Get out of there, because that's just going to be the story of their life. And you're not anyone's savior, right? It's hard enough even trying to save yourself. So don't feel like you need to take up that burden. It's not your job to save someone's life. So if it's like a short-term thing and they give you a deadline and they actually meet the deadline, then sure, I think it's nice to be there for your partner. But if it's like they're giving excuse after excuse after excuse, yeah, that ain't it. They're just taking advantage of your kindness, and you definitely need to leave that situation. 100, 100. Oh boy. Let me cross the road low key. W's in that chat. Appreciate y'all. Welcome to the chat. We all the way lit. We're doing a podcast today, which is dating potential vs reality. Welcome to the chat, gang. Yeah, so next question. Okay, can you genuinely love someone while admitting they're currently not the partner that you need right now? Can you genuinely love someone while admitting that they're actually not your type right now, or not the partner that you need right now in your life? That's a good question. I think love and reality. Here comes the trolls. I think reality and emotions are two different things. I think that's what I can say. And your mind's telling you one thing. Okay, W in the chat, she's saying, I think you can love someone and know that they're not right for you. You can't turn your feelings off. Yeah, that's exactly my point. W's in the chat, appreciate you, B. I think you can have feelings for someone, you can like someone, and you can know that they're not good for you, or this is not the type of partner that you want in your life, but you can't help but develop feelings for that person for whatever situation. But you can understand that actually who they are right now is not what you need. Who they are right now is like not good for you, or they are not up to the standard that you want them to be. And that's just GG's. It's really unfortunate. It doesn't mean that, they're a bad person or you're a bad person. It's just like the situation, you know what I mean? Situation means that, they're just not a good fit for you. And thank you for the likes. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, this means that they're not a good fit for you, and you just gotta keep it stepping. Like, I think the reality is real, you can't escape reality. And that's the thing. When you're faced with the reality of the situation, okay, yeah, W. Everyone thinks you wouldn't leave someone if you love them, when in reality you can love from a distance. Yeah, W. W in the chat. Yo, you can definitely love from a distance, yo. Oh yeah, I love that. Love from a distance. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that to people from now on. Yeah, that's my new thing. Hey, I'm gonna love you from a distance. Too experienced, I hear that still. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like, yo, it could be like right person, wrong timing. Sometimes it's right person, wrong timing, and you have a strong connection, but they just ain't it, or they're in a certain position that it just means that it's not gonna work out. And to be honest with you, it's better that you leave sooner rather than later, rather than making it long for like everybody involved, low key. So that one's tough, you know. That one's like, when that situation happens, it's kind of sad sometimes. Yo, thank you for the likes. Thank you for the, welcome to the chat, gang. You don't believe right person, wrong. If it was the right person, it would be. That's an interesting point. My 2 cents, yeah? This is my 2 cents. This is my 2 cents. This is my 2 cents, right? So, let's say sometimes you can be given an opportunity, but you're not mature enough to handle the opportunity. Does that make sense? So like, sometimes it's the right person for you, but because of you haven't learned certain lessons, you can fumble the bag. Or it might be that it's the right person, but they're about to move to freaking Jamaica, or they're about to move to freaking China or something because of their work. So it might be a situation that separates you. And even if this person was like the right person for you, but it might not be, you know, it might be a situation outside of you two that causes you guys to drift. So I think there's some truth to what you're saying, that, you know, if they were the right person, then we would stay. But sometimes reality doesn't really work that way sometimes, because maybe they're broke and they can't afford you. They can't afford your lifestyle. Then it's a long day. What happens if my babes want Chanel bag? She want Goyard bag. She want Gucci bag. But that, you know, maybe he's not in a position to provide that. Yeah, it's a little bit long day. A little bit long day. W's in the chat. Appreciate y'all. Welcome to the chat, everyone. We're doing an interesting podcast today. A little bit controversial. All right, next question. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Speaking of money, what matters more? Someone having money now, or having the mindset and work ethic to build money later? That's interesting. I like that one. So I'll repeat the question. What's more important? What's more important? Hey, thank you for the likes. Appreciate y'all. We are 100 likes. All the likes help boost the channel, so I appreciate it. So the question is, what's more important, having money and success now, or having somebody that is very diligent, they've got the work ethic to build that later? So this is my 2 cents. This is my 2 cents. I think it really depends on a lot of circumstances, you know? Depends on a lot of circumstances. Because I think work ethic, yeah, exactly, W in the chat. Work ethic is crucial, especially if the other person is driven too. So exactly that, right? They could have, you know, they might just be like silver spoon. Hey, W's in the chat, welcome to the chat, y'all. They might just be still silver spoon type situation, but they're super lazy, they're not driven, they have no motivation to work, they just want to chill and spend money and use Deliveroo and Uber Eats and all of that. And that just might be completely incompatible with you, especially if you're going somewhere and you're motivated and you're driven. It's very hard to teach that. It's hard to teach work ethic. It's hard to teach, like, you know, to give someone that inner motivation. If you're not working at your big age, go check yourself. W is in the chat. That's exactly it, right? You know, there's things to be done. There's money to be made, achievements to be had, type thing. And then be somebody that is actually driven. They may not have it now, but then they are working towards building something bigger than themselves. I think there's something inspiring about that. I think everyone's kind of inspired by that journey of, you know, the underdog. And especially, maybe you can't see the results now. Okay, hold on, let me read this real quick. If the right person was keeping for me and they couldn't, and they didn't work, I personally, okay. You personally couldn't be with them. Makes sense. It makes sense, it makes sense. So it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong, money is obviously important in everyone's lives. So it's very tempting to go with a person who already has that success. It's very tempting to go with that person. But I think there's something beautiful about that journey of 0 to hero, especially if you're with a partner that is driven, that's focused, that's gonna, because the person who's driven and focused is gonna motivate you. They're gonna encourage you and build you up as well. Exactly, W in the chat, just because you've been working since 14. For uni, straight job after, you'd want someone as driven as you. W in the chat. It makes sense. W. Makes sense. Welcome to the chat, y'all. It makes sense because it's like, you ain't no sugar mama. I hear it. I hear it. You know, I think, you know, obviously the best case scenario is that they're already successful and they're hardworking. But I think when you're with somebody driven, when you're with somebody focused, that's something special that can happen there. And you guys can really push each other to reach new heights. And they can, like, you know, influence you in positive ways. Yeah, exactly. So W doesn't mean that you split the wealth from them. They have their money and you have mine. I mean, the best case scenario is that you know, that it's a partnership, you know, and you guys build each other up. That would be the best case scenario. That there's mutual respect and mutual understanding, and you both feel like pushing each other to develop and be better. So W's, we love to see it. This was a good one, you know. All right, W's in the chat. Let me get to the next question. Side note, I just want to motivate people. If you haven't done your 10K today, guys, get out there. The sun is shining. Go for a walk. Don't spend the whole day inside. This is Bucket Hat Talks. Put on your bucket hat. Go get your 10K. Go get your workout in. Every step counts. So summer's basically here, y'all. Bikini body is already here. Hashtag bikini body. All right, let me get the next question. Okay, this is an interesting one, okay? At what point is I'm supporting the journey become I'm carrying the relationship? So at what point does supporting the journey turn into you're carrying the relationship? Because, you know, it's not just about, this is a good question because sometimes it's not just about financials, you know. Obviously financials play a big role. But it's also about direction. You know, it's about effort, it's about direction, it's about vision. It's about having a good plan in place, you know? So like, I think that's what I mean by, like, I think that's what it means by driving the relationship. Are they putting energy into the relationship, or are they just coasting? Or are they letting you do all the work, pay the bills, make all the big decisions? Or is it a joint effort? You know, I think that plays a big role, because that's all different types of mental stress. W's in the chat. The point where you feel drained from it and you're constantly going out of your way, yeah, that's time to go. When you feel like that, it's already GG's. Yeah. When you feel like that, it's already GG's. Yeah, when you notice it yourself is when you should check yourself. W, yeah, out. Get out of there, man. Get out of there, man. I think that's right. I think that pretty much sums it up. If you are carrying the majority of the weight of the relationship, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. It's not always going to be 50-50 though. Sometimes there's situations like, family situations, someone might die or something, and there might be a period of time where you might be carrying more of the weight than somebody else. So it's not always 50-50, but on average or in general, it should be a partnership. And if you feel like you are carrying more of the weight all the time, always like making all the decisions for the relationship, yeah, that's not a relationship. You just got a baby. You just got a big baby. You adopted a child that wants someone to take care of them. You know what I mean? Like in that situation there, yeah, exactly. Some days might be 40-50, some days 70-30, sometimes 50-50, that's life. Exactly that. Not every day gonna be completely 50-50. But on average, everybody needs to be carrying a weight in a relationship. I think that's the main thing. Like people still need to be present in a relationship. It can't be too one-sided. Welcome to the chat, gang. We are the way lit. That was a good question. Welcome to the chat. I'm gonna lie, this sun is shining, y'all. You don't need to fly out. You just need to go to a park. To be fair, I want to do a podcast on the beach. I want to go to Camber Sands. It's one of the best beaches in the UK. It's a beautiful, beautiful beach. It looks like you're in a different country, low key. So I look forward to that. All right. Next question. Okay, this is a good one. Should you ever enter a relationship hoping somebody will change? This is a wait. Let me get that Wi-Fi. Okay, we back. Yeah. Should you ever enter a relationship hoping to change the other person? Yeah, the short answer is never. W's in the chat. I think you are setting yourself up to fail if you think that you're going to be able to change anyone. And the reason why I say this, right, is because you got to think, how hard is it to change yourself? How hard is it to change one of your own habits? Like, think about some of the stubborn habits that you have that you don't like. Right, okay, W in the chat, you said you can't change anyone in this life. If someone wants to change, they will, and only that person can do that. It's on them, 100%. Because you got to think about it, yeah? How difficult is it for you to even change yourself or break one of your own habits and do something different? Now imagine it's going to be 20, 30 times harder to attempt to change someone else. That's your fighting a losing battle there. So if you're already seeing certain red flags from the beginning, if you're seeing certain red flags from the start of the relationship, yo, don't ignore them. They're red flags for a reason, yo. Don't ignore them. Don't be like, I can change him. I can change her. Nah, B. You ain't changing nothing. You are not changing nothing. It's literally impossible. So I think that's a question you need to ask them. If you're in a situation where somebody has a habit or a problem that's getting in the way of the relationship, rather than thinking I can change this person, you need to ask them if they want to change. You need to ask them if this is something that they even want for themselves. Like, do they want this for themselves? Because if they don't want it for themselves, you're wasting your time. Like, you're completely wasting your time because nothing's going to change. You can't force someone to be something that they're not. They will eventually revert back to their old ways, you know? So that's the 2 cents on that. And a lot of people, they go into relationships hoping to change the other person, thinking that they can save them, that, you know, like, I'm different. I can show them a different side of life. Nah, bro. All you can ever do, yeah, is provide a platform, right? You can provide the environment. You can bring the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink, right? So you can provide a nice environment for someone, a loving environment for someone. But if your thought process is, by the end of this, they're going to be different, by the end of this, they're going to change, then that's the wrong thought process to have, because you are stuck with the person that you met. Whoever that person is, that's who you're stuck with. And if you're lucky, they want to develop themselves. But more often than not, they probably ain't even motivated to do it for themselves. So GG's on that one. That one's a very simple one. Good question though, because I think it's quite relevant. This is an interesting one. Do actions matter more than ambition? Do actions matter more than ambition? I think this is a difficult one to answer. I'm not gonna lie. Welcome to the chat, gang. Yeah. Do actions matter more than ambition? Well, here's what you don't even have an answer for that. It's a difficult one, and this is what I would say, right? This is my 2 cents on that. I'm not gonna lie. In the world that we live in, a lot of people live in the world of what have you done for me lately, you know? And in the world of what have you done for me lately, actions definitely matter more than ambition. Why? Because sometimes action speaks louder than words, right? You can tell someone, hey, I want to show up. Okay, have a nice dinner, B. Appreciate you, babes. Yeah, let's link up soon. I'll catch up with you soon. Have a nice dinner, B. Appreciate you. Yeah, so here's what I would say. Like, if you're telling someone, yo, oh, I miss you, you know, they're gonna be like, well, if you miss me so much, come and see me then. Whereas if you just show up with some flowers, or you say, yo, I'm gonna pick you up at this time, X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 well, then you're proving with your actions that you care about this person, or that you want to spend time with this person, right? So I think there is like two sides of the coin for that. Because it's great to have ambition, it's great to have these grand intentions, but I think the way that the world works, like the reality of the world that we live in, people are definitely looking at your actions more than what you say, to be honest with you. They're judging you by the deeds that you've done more than the deeds that you're promising. All right, and I understand that, and I think that makes sense. To be honest, I think it makes sense. So you do need to be a man of your word or a woman of your word type thing. Because the world is full of dreamers, right? Everybody got some big dream they want to achieve. Everybody got some, you know, some grand ideas. But how many people are actually putting in the work to make those ideas a reality? Not that many. So in that sense, I would say actions mean more, because it's the physical manifestation of your ambition, right? What is an action? An action is the physical manifestation of your ambition, of your thoughts, of your wishes. So welcome to the chat, welcome to the chat. So that is how I would kind of summarize that one for sure. That one's a good one, I can't lie. W's in the chat. We're going to move on to the next one. We are the way lit. Okay. Does somebody's upbringing or difficult circumstance justify giving them more time to develop? Does someone's upbringing or difficult circumstance justify giving them more time to develop? Right, here's what I'll say about this one. It's a bit tough, okay? It's a bit tough. If the person has got a strong work ethic, if they are driven, if they're ambitious, and you can see that they're disciplined and they're putting in the work, and it looks like it is only a matter of time until they reach their success, then sure. I think you've seen enough evidence to prove that they will eventually become successful, or they will eventually achieve what they're setting out to achieve, right? I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable. But if it's a situation where, you know, again, they've had these circumstances in life, yeah, etc., but they're not driven, they're not focused, they're not disciplined. You haven't really seen any proof to indicate to you that, you know, they actually mean what they say. Well, then I don't think it's very smart to believe someone like that. I don't think you're gonna get the return on investment in that situation or scenario, you know? So, and it's hard, you know, because like I said, for certain people, you know, you really, you can fall into that trap. You can easily fall into that trap of believing in their potential. You can easily fall into that trap, but again, it's not reality, you know? It's not the reality that we're living in. So that was a difficult one. I think you need to use critical thinking, a little bit of judgment there. And also there needs to be some evidence, right? That was a good question. W's in the chat. Right, let me get the next one. Yeah, okay, so to continue that, are you in love with that person or the image of what they might become? Are you in love with the person, or are you in love with the potential of the person? I think there is a big difference, right? Between between loving who's in front of you and loving their potential. And I think it's dangerous. Loving someone's potential is dangerous game, right? It's a dangerous game. And the reason why it's a dangerous game is, like, what is potential? Like, what even is that? Like, what is that? It's nothing, right? It's not, it don't exist. You can have like some markers, some indicators to show that a person might be successful, but that doesn't guarantee that they will be. You can have some markers to indicate that somebody might change, but that doesn't guarantee that they will. So I think you need to be a little bit careful with that. And I think it's unfair to yourself and it's unfair to them for you to only be thinking about an imaginary scenario that doesn't exist, an imaginary person that doesn't exist. You know, I was in a relationship like that one time where this girl was only with me for my potential as opposed to who I am or who I was at the time. And there's a problem when the image in your head doesn't match up with the reality. It creates a problem. Like, it creates an issue. So you're having arguments. You're having arguments with someone that's not living in reality. Welcome to the chat. So obviously that relationship ended, right? So I think it's important that you definitely do yourself the right, do right by yourself. It's not even about being right by them, but be right by yourself to not mess things up and actually look at the person for who they are. Welcome to the chat, gang. All right, let me get to the next question. That was a really good question. So the next question is, what happens when somebody starts progressing much faster than the other person? Well, this is a bit difficult, right? Because I think we've all seen it, or at least we know of situations or scenarios like that. What happens when one partner progresses significantly faster than the other partner? And here's the 2 cents on that, right? Here's the 2 cents on that. Let me just cross the road without dying real quick. Yeah, we all the way lit. So, again, I think it depends. It depends on, even if one partner sees a high level of success more than the other partner, the question is, are you both still moving forward? Like, is one person chilling now? Is the other person chilling now because the partner is successful? Or are you both moving forward? If you guys are both moving forward still, then I don't think it matters who sees success first, because both partners are moving forward still. Both partners are developing, like working on themselves and want to make a better version of their life or themselves or their company, their business, whatever it is. But I think there's a problem where one couple reaches a high level of success and the other couple then starts to chill. starts to get more laid back, stops working as hard, starts like living and eating off the other person, then it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem because, you know, you stopped moving. You stop moving forward, and that would be a reason for a breakup, or that would be a reason to end the situation. When the other partner now doesn't want to, doesn't want to put in that end of the bargain and just wants to eat off you. At that point, you need to leave. Welcome to the chat, gang. At that point, you need to leave, and you need to find someone else or continue to work on yourself, because that's not a situation you want to be in. I think that's not a very good situation that you want to be in. Welcome to the chat, gang. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate y'all. It helps boost the channel up in the For You page. So we appreciate all the likes. This is me liking my own thing. We all know it. I had to cross the road and not die. I didn't die, so we can continue. We got like 2 or 3 more. Would you date someone with no clear career path, even if they're amazing in other aspects of the relationship? If they're amazing in every other aspect of the relationship, but they have no clear career path, would you still date them? I think that one is, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. I think, it depends. Yeah, if we're talking like idealistically here, yeah, we're not talking like, in an ideal world, you're with a partner that has certain ambitions, certain goals that they want to achieve, that are maybe like outside of you, that doesn't necessarily like have to involve you, you know what I mean? It'd be nice if they have, goals and aspirations that they want to achieve as a human being. Hold on one sec. 1 second, chat. Let me just check this real quick. Okay, that'll be good. Yeah, so that'll be like an ideal scenario. Because then, again, like you're both able to grow, and maybe it's even an area of expertise that can help you in your business. So, like, that's why I'm saying in an ideal scenario. Especially if they're amazing in all other areas of a relationship. I would say I think you need to kind of think twice, right? You need to think twice about ending it, because everything is going to be a compromise. Everything is going to be a compromise. It just depends what the compromise is. No one's going to be 100% perfect. So you need to kind of figure out at what part of the relationship are you willing to compromise within your partner, and what parts of the relationship you're not trying to compromise. That's kind of the main thing that you need to figure out. It's like, so if they haven't got a clear career path, like what does that mean? Does that mean like, are they broke? Do they have no job at all? Or are they working? It's just like they're just working some any random job type thing with an amazing partner. So it depends. I think that's what it makes, like, it depends. Or maybe they haven't had the opportunity yet. It might be that type of situation. So again, I think reality plays a role, and even if right now they're not like, exactly where you want them to be, they might be in the future. But it depends on what their own aspirations are do they have their own goals? But if they have no clue and they're not really working towards anything, then I think you need to, like, that's like a G check. You need to really think about that. Because otherwise you're going to be babysitting. And you don't want to be babysitting. You don't want to be babysitting. So that's my 2 cents on that one. And I think it's time for us to end stream. W's in the chat, appreciate y'all. We all the way lit. Oh, let me ask these man about cake. All right, gang. All right, I'll speak to you later, gang. Appreciate y'all. Welcome to the chat. We're gonna end chat there. See you later, gang.